I'll be honest, I came across an article that ended up touching on a broader subject. To be even more honest, I saw a comment where someone wondered, do animal babies have a plan in case their parents die? Turns out they do. Nature has given certain skills to some, and as for others, well, let's take a newborn octopus for example. It's tough for him from the very start. So small, defenseless, without any help from mom or dad, he's all alone right away, and no one tells him how to live this life. And the ocean is full of predators, practically monsters. All ready to eat the little octopus at the first chance. Good thing this little guy has a cunning plan. Just an unobtrusive reminder not to forget about the like. If you never bother with them, just ignore this message. So imagine you're an octopus that's just been born. You can't defend yourself, and no one else will help you either. What's the first thing you need to do? Of course, find shelter. This is literally what newborn octopuses of several species do. They create shelters for themselves. This one disguised itself by attaching sand grains to its skin. Then it can start hunting prey, even if it's several times larger than the octopus. But it depends a lot on the species. Some octopuses start their lives as tiny specks floating on the ocean's surface. That's how their first days go, among the plankton, and highly vulnerable. Almost everything in the ocean is bigger than a baby octopus, which means even the smallest fish can easily eat it. At this stage, the babies are called paralarvae. Such invulnerability is surprising, considering octopuses are born from eggs the size of a pinky nail. How do they manage to deal with all the difficulties of living on their own in such conditions? Luckily, nature gave these animals everything they need, even at such an early stage. Unlike many other animals, they are copies of their adult parents from birth, with fully developed eyes, tiny beaks, suckered arms, and the ability to change color right away. Some can even do this while still inside the egg. But that's not all. You probably know that our human internal organs grow and change throughout our entire lives. It's extremely rare for any organ to completely disappear. But baby octopuses have a unique situation. Right from the embryo stage, they develop hundreds of temporary organs that later vanish entirely as they mature. Scientists struggled for a long time to understand the purpose of these organs because they resemble something like dandelion flower. What's the point for an octopus to have something like that and then get rid of it? Well, not long ago, a couple of theories came up. The first one's quite simple. These little umbrellas are for better navigation in ocean currents. Octopuses are super tiny, and currents are their only way to move when they're young. When unfolded, the umbrellas increase the animal's surface area by a full 2/3, and that just helps octopuses travel. The second theory is more interesting. These umbrellas can help refract light, which blurs the outlines of hatched offspring in the water and confuses predators. It's interesting that for baby animals living at the bottom of the ocean, those umbrellas don't grow. It's so dark there that camouflage isn't needed. Just finding shelter or opening umbrellas isn't enough for survival. A young octopus grows quickly, possibly because of its short lifespan. Extremely effective at converting eaten food into body mass, it gains 5% in weight every day. By the end of its life, an octopus will weigh 1/3 of all the food it has eaten. On average, a common octopus lives only 3 to 5 years, so they don't have much time to waste. Deadlines are looming, so it's no wonder octopuses are born ready for independent life. If they had to grow teeth, claws, spikes, and all that, they wouldn't get anywhere at all. And then they also need to reproduce. And after that, the octopus dies. This happens a few months later for the male and shortly after the eggs hatch in the case of the female. The offspring are left on their own again and survive due to their numbers. A female common octopus lays up to 500,000 eggs, 500,000. However, out of the entire brood, only 1 or 2 octopuses can survive. That would already be a success. The important thing is to spread your genes further. If you're wondering why the female dies, it's quite simple. She guards hundreds of thousands of eggs hidden in a secluded place. Throughout this time, the female doesn't leave the cluster. She just sits and protects, saturating the eggs with oxygen and everything like that. She fulfills her maternal duty to the fullest. Eventually, the cephalopod mother dies from exhaustion. Her final days are not for the faint-hearted. The animal becomes limp and pale, occasionally thrashing against nearby objects, inflicting wounds on itself, and biting off the tips of its tentacles. And then it dies. Around the same time when children are born, and the cycle of survival starts again. A terrifying fate. Since we've started talking about something creepy, how about spiders? Statistics show that 6% of the world's population suffers from full-blown arachnophobia, and many others simply find spiders unpleasant, causing anxiety and stuff like that. If you're one of them, brace yourself. Spiders lay their eggs in an egg sac where the babies slowly grow. After hatching, they stay inside the egg sac until their first molt, then they emerge, making a neat hole with their fangs. At first, the spiderlings gather together, still mainly living off remnants of the egg sac that they managed to eat. And here comes the interesting part. Imagine you're a little spider. Everything you've eaten has already been digested, and now it's time to find something new. You spin your thread and fly away. That actually works. When spiderlings are tiny, they climb onto a branch, fence post, or other tall objects and extend their spinnerets, the organs for spinning webs. The wind pulls silk threads from their spinning organs, and because the spider is still very small and light, the wind carries the thread along with it to a new environment. This could be just a few feet or several miles away, depending on how things play out. You could say spiders become travelers early in their childhood. Moving to a new place marks the beginning of a new life and adulthood. As spiderlings grow, they molt and shed their skin multiple times. The fresh, larger skin emerges very soft, but soon dries out, hardens, providing protection. It works just like with crabs. As spiders grow bigger, they need to molt more often. Tarantulas, for instance, have to do this more than 20 times before they stop growing. Male spiders reach sexual maturity first, approximately twice as quickly as females, and it's no wonder since females are larger and should be able to lay eggs. It's not an easy job. However, there are spider females who have it especially tough. The Stegodiphyus dumicola species from South Africa lives in big family groups, sharing both communal nests and childcare duties. Yeah, we've got social spiders here behaving like some mongooses. Only about 40% of females in the group get a chance to reproduce because they mature more slowly than males, and those who don't become future mothers, known as virgin females, do everything possible to care for their sisters' babies. As soon as the eggs hatch, both mother and the virgin female start producing a nourishing fluid that they feed to the offspring through the mouth. It sounds perfectly normal until the female starts liquefy. She uses up almost all the resources of her body, and when this happens, the offspring crawl onto her and begin to devour her alive. After offspring live together their whole lives, which leads to interbreeding, brothers mate with sisters and so on. No one particularly cares about genetic abnormalities. However, this interbreeding can explain why virgin females care for relatives' offspring. Since spiders share a lot of genetic material, a female may consider unrelated offspring as her own. Many spiders, such as Amorobius ferox, don't eat their mother right away. The day after spiderlings hatch from eggs, the mother lays a batch of trophic eggs containing nutrients. These eggs are identical to regular ones, just unfertilized, and the offspring feed on them. Matriphagy begins in a few days. When the egg supply runs out, the mother starts communicating with her offspring through web vibrations, tapping, and jumps. Spiderlings find her, move toward her, and a couple of them climb onto her back to begin feeding. In response, the mother jumps and taps more frequently, trying to chase the offspring away, but they persist in attempting to climb onto her back. When the mother feels ready, she presses her body against the offspring and allows them to suck out her insides. While consuming the mother, the spiderlings also inject venom into her body, causing quick death. The female's body remains preserved for several weeks as a nutrient reserve. It's gonna take me a couple of seconds to wrap my head around this whole nightmare. By the way, scientists have concluded that a mother spider's behavior plays a crucial role in being eaten by her offspring. The female not only provides her spiderlings with food, but also teaches them a vital skill, awakening their predatory instincts. So by poisoning and eating their mother, the spiderlings learn the hunting process for life. But a crash course on how to be a spider is not the only bonus that spiders receive when they consume their mothers. The body mass and abdomen length of spiderlings increase after matriphagy, and they become larger than spiderlings that do not engage in such behavior. Matriphagy also speeds up the molting time, allowing spiders to grow at faster rates. Plus, they're more resilient. They have significantly higher survival and adaptability rates compared to offspring that don't feed on their mothers. They also get the chance to hunt larger prey. So it's all good things. It's clear why mothers are willing to make sacrifices. Matriphagy also improves spiders' social skills, mostly by cutting down on cannibalism among siblings. Plus, it's more bonding time with mom. Sorry, that was a bad joke. However, spiders at least have the opportunity to see their mother a couple of times before feasting on her. Offspring of other animals have to grow up on their own, sometimes never meeting adult individuals. So you're a chameleon, and you've just hatched from an egg. The first thing you do is wander around your nest a bit to get used to things and figure out how your limbs work. Then if it's recently rained, you crawl through the soft soil to the surface, which is a great time because there's plenty of food around after the rain. However, this food still needs to be found. A spider's web with insects will do just fine for your first meal in life. Even though you've just hatched and your parents didn't leave any instructions, you're already skillfully hitting the target with your tongue. Though this happens not with all types of chameleons. Some are actually live-bearing, but that's an exception found in cooler latitudes. Even in such cases, little chameleons survive without parental help. This task is not easy because as the sun sets, the temperature drops rapidly, and the newborn chameleons must act very quickly. If a newborn chameleon doesn't manage to hide in vegetation, it loses the ability to move and simply dies from the cold. Fortunately for this species, most chameleons find shelter quickly. They're guided by instincts and complete independence from birth. The loneliest baby chameleons belong to the Furcifer labordi species. Females of this Madagascar species lay eggs before winter. These eggs take between 8 and 10 months to develop, and hatching happens shortly before the summer showers. The thing is, by this time, adult chameleons manage to grow old and die. Yes, all of them. These chameleons live only 4 to 5 months after hatching. It's the shortest lifespan among four-legged vertebrates. That's why baby chameleons end up growing in a world where there's not a single adult around, and it's even worse than just being born without parents because there are absolutely zero examples of how to be a chameleon. I mean, it's clear that animals born independent don't learn from others and just use their built-in knowledge of the world, but still, just imagine something like that in the human world. Lots of, okay, maybe not babies, just kids or teenagers, and not a single adult. But if you think about it, these Madagascar chameleons live in very extreme conditions. After hatching, which happens all at once in a single day, they must grow as quickly as possible. They gain 2 to 4% of their body weight each day, reach sexual maturity in 2 months, then mate, lay eggs, and their health rapidly deteriorates, their grip weakens, and many even fall from trees. By April, there are no chameleons of this species left in Madagascar until new ones hatch in November. Even researchers still don't know why this species shows such an unusual life cycle. Now imagine you're a baby praying mantis, one of 14, or maybe one of 100. The female mantis lays clusters of eggs in foam which hardens and protects them through the winter. In the spring, you hatch and are called a nymph. That sounds beautiful. And so the time comes for your first breakfast. As it is, you have another mantis, your brother or sister. Not because you don't really like them, but simply because predator instincts take over and you're naturally quite aggressive. And since mantis nymphs don't hurry to scatter after hatching, the closest relatives become victims of these instincts. After a couple of weeks, the nymph is already big enough to eat some soft-bodied insects and other small prey. At this stage, mantises don't have wings yet, but it doesn't stop them from hunting. And so, little by little, as they feed, the nymphs grow into adults through metamorphosis, then they grow and molt, shedding their exoskeleton and growing a new one several times to reach the adult stage. And the cycle repeats. And then I thought, what about sharks? Turns out we know very little about them, but the information is still incredibly interesting. So imagine you're a lemon shark pup. As soon as you're born in the shallow waters of a mangrove forest or lagoon, your mother immediately swims back to the deep ocean. That's it. From this moment on, you are completely on your own. You can hide somewhere in the maze of roots where big predators, including adult sharks of your species, can't get to you. It'll take 2 or 3 years before you properly hone your hunting skills and sail out to sea during high tide. If you were a baby sand tiger shark, things get much tougher. Females of this species have 2 uteri, each producing many eggs. The eggs hatch inside the uterus, and soon the embryos develop sharp teeth. After that, the little sharks, not yet born, start killing and eating their siblings, as well as all unfertilized eggs in the mother's womb. This continues until only 1 baby shark remains. As a result, the mother gives birth to only 2 offspring, the last survivors from each litter. And since they were generously nourished even before birth, they come into the world already big, about 3 feet in length, big and experienced in killing. This brutal survival strategy is known as intrauterine cannibalism and was discovered in 1948 when a scientist studying the womb of the sand tiger shark was bitten on the hand by one of the embryos. Imagine his surprise. Intrauterine cannibalism has also been documented in other shark species, including the great white shark and the basking shark. Interestingly, the latter feeds on plankton as adults, which makes this behavior particularly strange. Despite this, embryos of other species only feed on unfertilized eggs in the womb. The sand tiger shark is the only one known to consume other embryos and fight to avoid becoming lunch for their own brother or sister. I wouldn't want to be a sand tiger shark. Finished watching my video again? Then I'm waiting for your like. It's only fair. See you later.